Բարև ձեզ հարգելի բարեկամներ, Սփյուռքի ձայնը հեռուստահանդեսը դարձյալ ձեզ հետ է։ Ճանաչենք մեր արվեստագետներին շարքից, այսօր ուզում եմ ձեզ ներկայացնել հայ երիտասարդ երաժիշտ, կոմպոզիտոր դաշնակահար Hayk Arsenyanին։
As a winner of the 2014 Beverly Hills International Auditions, New York-based pianist-composer Hayk Arsenyan will be touring throughout Southern California, the East Coast, and internationally for the concert season of 2015 and 2016. He just returned from California, where he performed a concert as part of his tour. The concert, which was one of 10 solo recitals, took place in Los Angeles on January 10th at the Brand Library and Arts Center in Glendale. Hayk Arsenyan's concert tour will complete at the famous Greystone Mansion in Beverly Hills on February 22nd and will be followed by performances in New York City, Pittsburgh, Medellin, Colombia, Sofia, Bulgaria, and Paris. Hayk Arsenyan was involved in music from a very young age.
Music has been everything for me since the day probably I was born. I mean, this may be sounding too crazy, but I really do not remember a single day of my life where I cannot even remember a single moment of my life that I don't hear music. My parents definitely felt that I am in love with music. My grandmother bought a piano. When I turned 5, my mom took me to Tchaikovsky school. The director of the school, Tatyana Bagratovna Harapetyan, she said, no, you know what, this boy has really good hands for the violin, so he should not be studying the piano, he should study the violin and with me. So this is how I got in the violin class. I love the instrument, but at the same time, I kept composing for piano. Piano is still the instrument of my soul.
In 1989, at the age of 10, Hayk Arsenyan composed a requiem for the piano and orchestra dedicated to the victims of the devastating earthquake in Armenia.
We had a lot of relatives who lived in Gyumri, and just suddenly whoever survived came and stayed at my grandmother's house when at that time we were also living there. And it was just so tragic to see these people. Some of them lost their kids, some of them lost their parents, and they were crying constantly. I was 10 years old. It was a total shock for me. And I composed my requiem for piano and orchestra. And my composition teacher at school at that time, Melik Mavizakalyan, also helped me, orchestrate the piece.
Maestro Daniel Yerajisht wrote the following comment about the requiem.
Անմոռանալի օրեր էին, պատանի Հայկի զգայուն սիրտը թեպետ մշուշոտ, բայց հավքի պես արձագանքում էր իր ռեկվիեմով, թե երկրաշարժին, թե մեր ժողովրդի վտանգներին, փորձում երաժշտության պաշտպանել եւ իրեն եւ մեզ.
As a young musician, Hayk began performing concerts in Armenia and abroad.
The first time when I started playing outside of Armenia was when I was sent to New Names Festival in Crimea, in Ukraine. That was a very interesting experience because that's where I first time encountered, other young kids who are playing, and they are all from different countries. It was an international festival. For a month we were living all together.
After winning several national and all Soviet Union competitions, Hayk was selected to represent Armenia at a concert in the Palace of UNESCO in Paris at the age of 14.
When we arrived to Paris, I remember that was 1993, and it was the dark years in Yerevan, the dark times, and I suddenly appear in Paris, and the first image that I remember is on the bus taking that tour, and it was raining. Like I could see Paris, but through that rain, and it was just like an impressionist painting. And all I remember was the colors of this gold and a lot of things. And for a little boy, it was just overwhelming, but it was overwhelmingly beautiful. And that smell of Paris I will never forget. Like the smell of rain and perfume and luxury. And this beautiful impressionistic picture seeing outside of a bus window, I fell in love with Paris. I was only 15 years old at that time, but this was an idée fixe for me, and I really wanted to move to Paris and study in this beautiful, incredible, artistic city. City of freedom, city of love, and a city of music for me. Right after this concert, so I went to Armenia with already these feelings, with my trembling heart, and my mom was, you know, you have to go to Argentina and Uruguay. That was another great experience. It was just totally different side of the world too. So it was very beautiful cities, but was not Paris for me. So I came back home and I started practicing really hard to go and play for my exams in Paris Conservatory.
At the age of 15, Hayk became a lifetime member of the French Society of Composers. Hayk Arsenyan made his European orchestral debut as a soloist with the Radio France National Philharmonic Orchestra and was awarded a platinum medal by the city of Paris at the age of 18. After Paris, he continued his education in Moscow, receiving a master's degree from the Gnessin Music Academy. Hayk Arsenyan holds a Doctor of Musical Arts degree in Piano Performance and Pedagogy from the University of Iowa. He has compiled a performance guide to 3 keyboard sonatas of Antonio Soler, which was published by the University of Iowa Press.
For a performing artist, playing concert is a way of communication. We create a circulation of energy. The way I play my performance, the music, the energy of the music, then the energy of the audience's response. It's very important to be able to share your idea and get that feedback, that energy, that mysterious energy that you get as a feedback. And this is no wonder why you feel so trembling after you finish your concert and so touched and so in another world, because you are still living in that energy, and this energy is what encourages you to keep playing and circulate your own life with this energy.
Hayk Arsenyan has since appeared in numerous recitals in Armenia, Russia, France, Italy, Spain, Canary Islands, Czech Republic, Bulgaria, Syria, Lebanon, and the USA, including performances at New York's Carnegie Hall, together with Pinchas Sugerman and Sidney Harth. Several of his original works have been choreographed by the dance departments of the University of Iowa Youth Ballet and New York University, as well as the Duarte Dance Works Company of Brazil.
While I was studying in Moscow, I was also lucky to be working at Bolshoi Theater, and I was working with both Bolshoi Ballet and Bolshoi Opera. But that experience of working with dancers later on inspired me to create this course at NYU, which is called Musical Collaboration, and I've been teaching this already 6 years there. It's a course where I teach the musicians and the dancers how to work with each other.
In 2007, Hayk received a full tuition Yevgeny Kissin Award for the Professional Studies Performance Program at the Manhattan School of Music in New York.
I was very lucky to receive the Yevgeny Kissin Award. That was a full tuition scholarship to Manhattan School of Music, which gave me the chance to study with one of the best teachers in the world, Solomon Mikovsky. Studying with Mikovsky is completely different experience because he's not teaching you a technique. It's on a different artistic level that he's working with you. And this program that I was at for Manhattan School of Music, that was not an academic degree, but this was more like a concert management.
Since 2007 to the present, Hayk Arsenyan teaches at New York University's Tisch School of the Arts.
So I lived in Paris for 4 years, then in Moscow for 6 years, then in Iowa City while I was doing my doctoral studies there for 4 years. And it's been 6 years that I'm in New York City. And when I moved to New York City for the second time in my life, I fell in love again with the city and I felt home again outside of home. It's very interesting to be living in different countries because it really enriches you as an artist and as a person, I'm sure. But it's been really different in New York City because I feel like this city in its entirety is arts, and everywhere you walk is so artistic, and everything you hear and see is pure inspiration.
Besides his active performing and teaching career, Hayk Arsenyan is also the director of the Performing Arts Department at HBU, which helped him to fulfill his dream of supporting his fellow Armenian artists by promoting Armenian culture and artistic heritage worldwide.
This position at HBU is a very exciting opportunity for me to meet a lot of interesting people. We are here to not only promote these artists from all over the world, to the non-Armenian audiences, but also to connect them, to unify them, because we need to be unified, we need to appreciate each other and collaborate with each other. This is a very important job. I have a very big responsibility, but at the same time, huge excitement.
Arsenyan is married and lives in New York with his wife Nuna and daughter Ani Alice. His family has always been a source of his strength and creativity.
I feel like for me, composing is just such natural moment that it's really difficult for me to explain what it is, how I compose. I'm telling you, when I don't speak, I compose. When I don't speak, I have music in my mind. I never have silence. And I'm not sure whether this is with everybody or not, but I never have silence. And whenever, I'm asked, what is the genre that you compose in? It's also very difficult to say, because yes, it's not necessarily atonal, or it's not romantic, or it doesn't really belong to maybe some minimalistic ideas. Maybe it's a melange of a lot of different things, but I feel like I am a melange of different things, probably. So sometimes that's what that whole melange is. But I know that one thing that's very concrete, it's very Armenian, that I know. And it's not something I do in purpose. It's just that's what comes out, even though I've been living outside of Armenia for longer than the majority of my life, I still compose Armenian music because I just can't imagine not composing Armenian music. So even if some moments sounds very contemporary to our audience, and it still does sound Armenian, I feel like.
For the future, Hayk Arsenyan has many concerts planned ahead and many musical competitions that he has been cultivating in his musical mind, but as of yet has to be written to share with his audience.
Actually, I was invited to participate in the festival called Return Veradart that will take place in Armenia, and so this year in October I will be performing in Armenia for the first time in 21 years. And the whole idea of the festival is to bring back artists who left the country and are now returning with a performance. I'm very honored and really excited and looking forward to this concert.